Like our video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.
England beat Norway in one of the most boring matches of this World Cup. Norway completely conceded possession to England during the opening phase of the game, defending in a 4-5-1 shape. England tried to overload the space between the lines, but Norway's compact midfield gave them no opportunities to play line-breaking passes. As a result, England simply circulated the ball, trying to shift Norway's entire defensive block toward one flank before switching play diagonally to the opposite side. However, those diagonal switches rarely worked. Either Norway's fullbacks intercepted the passes, or England's wingers were caught offside. It was extremely difficult to find space between the lines as the passing lanes were consistently blocked. That completely defined the first 15 to 20 minutes of the match. England also attempted to overload the flanks, hoping to create combinations through numerical superiority around the ball, but those efforts were unsuccessful as well. The English players were quite passive, avoiding risks early in the match. There were almost no progressive passes, just safe possession without penetration. Whenever England struggled to progress the ball, Harry Kane dropped deeper to become the main distributor of those diagonal passes. Anderson even stepped higher to play between the lines to attack the depth, but England still refused to play those risky balls. They simply prioritized possession over creating danger. Probably England's most interesting attacking pattern came when the left winger and the left back swapped positions. The winger began attacking the space behind Norway's defense, dragging Norway's right fullback with him. That created much more room for O'Reilly on the flank, allowing him to receive the ball in space. Those passes started to work. That was arguably England's biggest attacking weapon in the first half. O'Reilly received the ball from a wide position, combined with Anthony Gordon between the lines, and England managed to create a few promising situations, including this one. O'Reilly's advanced positioning also exposed England defensively. In this sequence, he loses possession, and Norway immediately launches a counterattack into the space he had vacated. This became one of England's main defensive weaknesses. With the left back pushing extremely high, Norway repeatedly targeted that flank in transition. As we can see again here, England's left back is caught high up the pitch, and Norway quickly attacks the space behind him. Now let's look at Alexander Sørloth's terrible decision-making in this moment. Ask yourself, what should he do here? The obvious option is to play Erling Haaland through. That's clearly the best decision. Alternatively, he could drive into the penalty area, attempt a cut back to Haaland, or even shoot himself if the opportunity opens up. Instead, Sørloth slows the attack down completely. John Stones does an excellent job of closing the passing lane. Defensively, he does everything right, but Sørloth does almost everything wrong. He doesn't release the pass before Stones closes him down. He simply waits for the passing lane to magically appear instead of creating it himself. He could have used a body feint, shifted Stones' balance, moved inside, and then played a left-footed pass to Haaland. All of those options were available. Instead, Norway wastes a very promising 2v1 counterattack, which ends with Sørloth having his shot blocked. It's a perfect example of poor decision-making in the final third. And if you want to avoid making mistakes like these yourself, I have something that can help you. Want to take your game to the next level? Improve your football IQ. Message me on Instagram for a free post-match trial session. We'll break down the match and key moments in detail on a one-on-one call. Don't just play the game, master it. Upgrade your game today. Despite that, England's left side functioned reasonably well. Their quickest combinations came down that flank and produced their best chances. Here, after another fast combination, O'Reilly gets into the box and delivers a cross. This was probably England's first touch inside Norway's penalty area during the entire first half. But the water break changed everything. Norway suddenly became much more aggressive. They started pressing higher and with greater intensity instead of sitting in a deep block. Their high press immediately created problems for England and nearly paid off. Here, Norway traps England near the touchline. Stones, under pressure, makes a poor mistake while trying to play out from the back. Norway wins possession, and England are fortunate that Jordan Pickford reaches the ball before the Norwegian striker. Otherwise, the outcome could have been very different. During this period after the hydration break, Norway also began building their own positional attacks. England defended in a 4-4-2 shape, while Martin Odegaard became Norway's key playmaker, repeatedly finding excellent line-breaking passes. And whenever you play against Norway, the main player you always have to worry about is Erling Haaland. With his very first cross into the box, he immediately produces a shot on target. Just look at how easily he wins his position, outjumps everyone around him, and directs his header toward goal. Only a few minutes later, Norway wins the ball in midfield, switches play to the wing, and their left winger scores an absolutely phenomenal goal. Personally, I think he was actually trying to deliver a cross toward the far post. First of all, look at the far post area. Two England defenders are marking Erling Haaland, yet they're already losing the position against him. But instead of reaching Haaland, the ball follows an unbelievable trajectory, curls toward the far post, hits the inside of the post, and goes in. Let me know in the comments, do you think it was a cross or a shot? Jude Bellingham had a solid performance overall. He constantly tried to attack the space behind Norway's defense. Bellingham was also excellent at finding space between the lines, where he could combine quickly with his teammates. At the same time, he was sometimes willing to drop deeper and take on the role of a playmaker, delivering key passes from midfield. Norway mostly played long from goal kicks, which made perfect sense considering they had two physically dominant forwards. Sørloth was usually the target man, expected to win the first ball, and either flick it on into space for Erling Haaland or the left winger. Norway also positioned several players around the duel to compete for the second ball. It was a logical approach and it worked quite well. Here's another example. Nyland launches the ball long from his own penalty area, and the sequence eventually ends in a goal. The ball clearly strikes the TV camera suspended over the pitch, but FIFA's tracking system fails to register the contact. Everyone inside the stadium can see it except the officials using the technology. VAR doesn't intervene because the sensors detect nothing. That naturally raises serious questions about the reliability of FIFA's technology. It also brings back the debate surrounding Croatia's earlier disallowed goal. Instead of reaching Sørloth, as it normally should have, the ball suddenly changes its trajectory. If you watch the replay, the flight of the ball is completely unnatural, almost as if gravity stopped working for a moment. Rather than falling towards Sørloth, it drops straight to Anderson, who takes his first touch forward, has plenty of space to attack, and drives England forward. It's also important to notice Gordon's movement. He drifts inside, beats his defender, and plays the ball to Jude Bellingham. Look at Bellingham's positioning. He's completely free because Norway's central midfielders are focused on competing for the second ball. Instead of attacking the penalty area immediately, Bellingham intelligently delays his run and arrives in the second wave. He receives the pass, sees the center back stepping out to challenge him, pushes the ball into space with his first touch, enters the box and finishes brilliantly. A phenomenal piece of play from Bellingham. Norway also scored a goal that was eventually ruled out, but there was a clear foul before the corner was taken. There really isn't much to argue about. It wasn't simply a physical duel. Haaland clearly pushed his marker, so disallowing the goal was the correct decision. However, Norway created another dangerous chance from a different corner shortly afterward, hitting the crossbar. They continued to threaten England from set pieces. Thomas Tuchel also made numerous substitutions and tactical adjustments throughout the second half. Both the central midfielders and the wingers changed. Bellingham started dropping deeper, operating more as a playmaker in search of line-breaking passes. Beyond that, he remained incredibly active across the pitch. He constantly looked to receive between the lines, attack the space behind the defense, and covered virtually every attacking zone. More substitutions followed. Reece James came on, and England's structure changed once again. In possession, both James and John Stones frequently stepped into midfield, acting as deep-lying playmakers. Later, Morgan Rogers entered the match. Stones returned to the defensive line. Rogers occupied the space between the lines, while James operated as a right-back who regularly inverted into midfield to dictate play. Bellingham continued playing an extremely hybrid role, appearing almost everywhere on the pitch and constantly rotating positions. Spence also came on, providing width on the left, attacking the space behind Norway's defense, and making aggressive, overlapping runs. In the end, Bellingham became the match winner. The game itself remained very dull. England attempted a shot from around 24 meters out. The goalkeeper tried to catch the shot instead of pushing it away, but failed to hold on to it. Bellingham reacted first to the rebound, tapped the ball into the net, and sent England into the World Cup semifinal against Argentina. Leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about the refereeing incidents, and what are England's chances of reaching the final? Don't forget to like the video, share it with other football fans, and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth tactical analysis from the World Cup.